Awesome.
All right, welcome everyone to our business development webinar series, and it's presented by the City of San Jose Office of Economic Development. And today our topic is on business safety. And before we get started, I just want to go over some administrative items. This webinar will be interpreted in Spanish, Vietnamese, and Mandarin. And for those who need still services, please see the interpretation globe button. Please click on that, and then you'll be able to select which language channel. And also, I would like to make the announcement that this webinar will be recorded. And after this webinar, this video will be uploaded onto our YouTube channel, and you can access this channel anytime after we upload the video. Please see the link and the QR code on your screen. And just a disclaimer that while every effort is made by the City of San Jose, partners and interpreters to provide correct information, none of these parties will accept liability for misinterpreted, incomplete, old, or inaccurate information presented in good faith. Always consult with a financial or legal advisor on critical issues. And for this webinar, we have the chat box enabled, so please type your questions, comments into that section, and we will go over the questions towards the end of our webinar. There will be also a survey consist of 9 questions emailed to you after the webinar. So please complete that if you have some time. We will really appreciate your feedback. All right, without further ado, I'm going to introduce our special guest today. We have Mimi Nguyen, and she is with us from the San Jose Police Department. And we have Olympia Williams from our Parks and Recreation Neighborhood Services Department, and she is the manager for BeautifySJ. And then we have Vanessa, who will not be doing a formal presentation, but she will be here towards the end to answer questions for us, and she's from the Housing Department. All right, so I'm going to turn over the sharing screen to Mimi for her presentation. Thank you, Mimi.
Thank you, Gia, and thank you, Elizabeth, for hosting this important webinar. My name is Mimi-Cristien Nguyen, and let me start sharing my screen. Hold on, thumb up if you see it. All right, good. Thumb up. Right. Let me see with the beginning. Where is my in slide. All right, my name is Mimi-Cristien Nguyen. I am a crime prevention specialist for San Jose Police Department. Unlike our officer, I am the civilian side of the police department. My job, as well as the job of other specialists here in our unit, is to provide safety awareness workshop presentation that can help the community, your businesses, as well as your neighborhood and yourself stay safe. This considered as personal safety as well as business safety. So you got to keep yourself safe in order for you to do your business, as well as keeping your business safe and your employees safe. So we're going to quickly go over just some very basic information, as well as tips of how to keep yourself and your business safe. And during the duration of this particular presentation, if you have any questions, please feel free to drop it in the chat box, or hold up until the end of my presentation, because some of the slide will answer the question you're probably having right now. So with no further ado, I'm gonna move on to the presentations. So let's talk about the city of San Jose. Everyone know that we live in a very robust grow-ins and a lot of activity happening in our city. The city of San Jose, known to the world as the Silicon Valley. It's 178 square miles or 180 square miles, just to round it up. And it's divided up into 4 different divisions. Why is that important? When I move to the next slide, you will understand the structure of why we divide it up, so that our patrol officer can move around in that division as well in your neighborhood, in your business corridor, to patrol, to respond to call of service. 4 divisions of the police departments are Central Division, Foothills, Southern, and Western. If you're looking at the map, it will give you different color code for each divisions. Every division will head up by a captain. Right now, the police department, city hall, downtown corridor, all the major business and activities, the high-tech company is in the Central Division. It's from downtown all the way up to Alviso. The Southern is from downtown all the way down to the borderline of Morgan Hill. The east side, the Foothill side, would be the 101 to all the way to the 680. And the western side would be from 101 all the way to Saratoga, Santa Clara, and then Campbell. Those are the boundaries of our 4 divisions. I don't know where your business, I know there's a lot of business owner, managers, as well as complete employees probably sitting on this webinar right now. And your business could be on the east side, your business could be in the downtown corridor, on North First Street, or down in southern divisions. And every single neighborhood where you set up your business, you will encounter different activities. And later on, when we go into that portion of activity and how to call for help, you will understand a little bit more clearly of why we need to get the information directly from you, as well as detailed information when you call to report. Earlier, when I talked about the chain of command for each division, so 4 divisions, right? Central, Foothill, Western, and Southern. Every division head up by a captain. Underneath the captain will be lieutenant, sergeant, and patrol officers. All the cars that you've seen driving around our city, most of the time they are patrol officers. That's what we call patrol officers, right? They patrol the street. They answer to call for service. Crime prevention, my unit, is completely a different entity in regard to the chain of command of patrol side. I have a direct supervisor, but I also have a captain that oversee me. So why is it important? It's when you look at the flow charts, everyone have a boss, right? So if there are things that when you encounter with our officer that you're not happy, or you didn't get the answer that you were looking for, you can always ask for the supervisors. Could be a sergeant, and if the sergeant dealing with you and you still have more questions, then you can move up to the chain of command, like lieutenant or captain. But with me, with the crime prevention unit and myself, I will put my contact information at the end so that you can also reach out to me. And if anything that I can do to report to the captain or get the captain involved to assist you on any matters, then please do so. Don't hesitate to contact me when I provide the contact informations. This is the schedule of our officers. This is the police shift throughout the city. At 24/7, there's not a single second of the day that the city or your neighborhood or your street is not patrolled by officers. Ideally, you should have an officer driving back and forth on your street all the time. However, we live in a city very large, like I mentioned earlier, 180 square miles, and we only have 1,050 officers patrol the entire city with that massive of land. In addition, we live in a city with a very high concentration of populations. On the daily basis, you will have 1.1 million residents who live here in San Jose, in the city, with 1,050 officers to keep you safe and our street and our city safe. As you see, we stress very thin. This the shift that our officer work. The day shift is 6 a.m. to 4 p.m. The swing is from 3 p.m. to 1 a.m. and the night shift is 9 p.m. to 7 a.m. If you look at the schedule, you see the swing shift, the officers stay out on the street until 1 o'clock in the morning, but at 9 o'clock at night, the night shift already started. So from 9 p.m. to 1 a.m., you have 4 hours of double coverage for the city. rightly so, right? From 9 p.m. to 1 a.m. That's a lot of activity. It's darker. A lot of stuff happen in the dark at nighttime falls. So that give you an idea of how our police shift divide up. The busiest shift for our officer would be the swing shift. So understand that from 3 p.m. to 1 a.m., that's when we get a lot of call for service. When I'm talking about the busiest, it's mean our 911 calling in, our three non-emergency calling in. A lot of things happen during the swing shift. So if something happened, if you have something that non-urgent that happened during that time and you pick up the phone and you call 911, please understand that it's gonna take a minute for them to answer your call or sending the officers to the situations. If it's not a priority 1 or 2, which mean involved with life and death, then it's most likely gonna take some time for our officer to show up. But then I will show you how to report online in situation that you don't really need an officer to be on scene. In addition to our patrol officer, we have a very special unit we call Mobile Crisis Assessment Team. This particular team, if your business is downtown corridor or in a high concentration of business, you've probably seen a lot of these officers in this unit. They only deal with particular group of residents in our city, and that's the mentally health, the unstable, people who have a bad day, people who didn't take their medication that day. So these officers respond to situations like that to de-escalate the situations, and also to bring in the clinicians or people who are specialized in behavior health to assist this individual. So when you see this officer in the gray uniform driving around or walking the street, you know that they are assisting our mental health population in our city, but also connect with the Santa Clara County Behavior Health to get the professional help. Now let's talk about business. How to keep your business safe. Pay attention to your surrounding. Let's start from the outside of your business, from the parking lot, looking as people who park their car for the long period of time, but just not leaving the car and keep looking around in your parking lot. It's mainly scouting out for situation, for opportunity to break in or to do certain harms to the, your clients or the vendors or what have you have in that parking lot. Also, you've seen people who walking up and down in the parking lot, try to open door. Sometimes they pretend that they walk by a car and they just jiggle that little handle a little bit and then move on. That is how they scouting to see which doors is open and unlocked. And also you have people walk into your business asking really strange and random questions about your security or buildings security procedures. For example, someone walking up and paying, their coffee or paying for that donuts, and they're gonna, oh, what type of security camera you have here? Do you have on-site patrol? That's a very unusual question for any person who come in to get a cup of coffee or donuts, right? Those are red flags. And situation like that, take out the information. When I say take that information, pay attention to the persons, and you call us to give us the descriptions, but also let your employees know to look out for this individual, because that's kind of question that they ask would lead to something else. Sometimes people wearing large clothes, especially in the summer, when you see people wear multiple layers, especially a couple of days ago, if you've seen someone walking around with a hoodies or a large, overcoat and in the parking lot, then, there is no reason to walk around in 101-degree weather in the multiple layers of clothes unless they are, planning on to do something. Because usually, not all the time, but usually when a criminal wants to commit a crime, they will wear multiple layers so that when they commit a crime, they ran down the street, they take off one layer. And if you don't pay attention to what they wear underneath, you would not be able to describe that individual. So pay attention to your surrounding. Also let your employee know, look out for these behavior and the red flags in the parking lot. Personal safety, car break-ins is one of the highest incident that happened in our city for the last few years. And if you live in San Jose or you go shopping in San Jose, you probably have heard the term smash and grab, right? So it's have to do with a lot of people who not paying attention to their surrounding, slow to react in situations, people constantly looking down on their phone, and that create an opportunity for the criminal to attack, to take property away from you. So always pay attention to your surrounding, from where you walk, where you park your car. And in the winter time, it's getting darker really early. Make sure you park in a well-lit area, park in a place that when you walk out of your store, you will see your car right away rather than walk around the corner. And that creates a delay and not knowing what's waiting for you at the car. So make sure you always have a good sight to your vehicle before you walk there, get to your vehicle. Make sure you get your car keys ready. Keep your dominant hands free of things so that you don't carry multiple bags and then hurry in and then not knowing where you are. That kind of behavior create the situation when the criminal say, oh, that person is so vulnerable, he or she wouldn't respond right away or react right away when I attack him or her. Inside your business, let's talk about how to make it much more visible, a clean line of visibility. So on the left side of the screen, you see in the store have a lot of flyers on poster and all kind of stuff that cover up the windows. I've seen a lot of, there's still a lot of store like that in San Jose. So when we do a whole walk around assessment for the business, we recommend to create a clear visibility from inside out as well as from outside looking in. So for example, the first photo on your left, if I'm looking at it, I wouldn't know what's happened inside the store. If an officer just happened to drive by or walk by, and there's some robbery going on, he or she wouldn't be able to see it. Or if some fight broke out in the store, you wouldn't be able to see it. Or from the store looking out, someone break into a car in a parking lot, the employee would not be able to see it and call for help, or the customer wouldn't know and rush out to call for help. So make sure there's a clear line of visibility from your store inside out as well as outside looking in. This is one of the recommendations. In addition, make sure that when you have outdoor dining, create a clear environment. Don't create so much cluster with all the chairs and table. And also remind your patron not to leave their stuff unattended. There's incident when I walked by a coffee shop, someone left their laptop there because they're working on their laptop and they walked up to the counter to get the coffee. So when they turn around, the laptop was already gone. So it's only take a minute of, the moment of carelessness, just one instance, thing just happened, especially in the downtown corridor when a lot of college kids have their laptop, have backpack, and they sit and they study, and they just walk away from it. They go to the bathroom or they walk up to get the coffee and left all of their personal belongings unattended. So as business owner, manager, employees, please, walk around if you get a chance and remind this person, please, take your laptop with you, close your book bag. Don't let it just hanging out and people can see your cash or your phone or anything like that. If your business at night that need to have a lock or close up, if possible, create layers so that, to break the window, they have to go through this whole metal screen before they get to the window. So you look at this, the flower shop that they have a glass window, but the outside the glass window, that's little barbed wires or kind of wires fence, so that it's harder for them to break the window at night. Inside your store, reduce the reward. Make sure the store don't have a lot of cash. Nowadays, a lot of us use, Google Wallet, Apple Pays. Due to COVID, a lot of payment. So it's also reduced the amount of cash in the drawer, which is really good. If you need to deposit cash, make sure don't make a routine out of it. Deposit sporadically throughout the day. Don't make a routine, because if you create a routine, the criminal will know your routine. And make sure not just one person go deposit the money, have one or two, three different person go, but then, try to make it random throughout the day so they don't keep track of your routine. And then also make sure that your employee do not leave anything on the counter. There's times when I walk into a store, I seen their cell phone, their wallet, their keychain just left on the counter, and the employee was just taking the order and talking to customer. That creates an opportunity for someone just to run in, grab their employee stuff, and then ran out. So you don't want to create a situation like that. Now, camera, make sure that a camera point to a direction that you can see people face, not from the top down. You have no idea how many hours that we have to look at the top of people's head when we have to go through footage of camera surveillance in an incident. So make sure it's face level, not high up. We recommend 3 or more cameras in the store, high resolution, easy visible, so that it would deter the criminal. Also, in addition, that make sure you have someone on site that can release the footage to our officers, because there's time when a robbery or some incident happened, an officer need access to the camera. The employee said, yeah, I don't have access to it. You have to contact the owner or the manager, and he or she is on vacation. So it's going to delay the process of investigation and gathering up evidence. Also, another, quick tips, you can buy those measurement tape that you can, tape it up by the main entrance into your store, so that when people walk in and out, you can glance up and you see how high the person is. And also in a situation when you have to describe the suspect or the criminal, you can, let the officer know, oh yeah, he's about 5'7" or 6 foot tall, because you glance up and you see the person walk out, and let the measurement tape right by the entrance of your door. See, for this, if you have a drop safe in your business, make sure that no employee have access, key lock or time delay, and very, very important, make sure it bolt to the floor. There's situation incident when they just hook up the safe in the back of a truck, in the back of a car, and just drag it out from the store. And it's also happened with the ATM machines sometimes. If your store have an ATM machines, make sure that whoever put it there, bolt it down to the floor, so that robbery situation, people see tempting situation, they don't come in and get it ripped out of your store. Robbery versus burglary, 2 different penal code and 2 different ways that we prosecute this individual. Robbery is when someone walk into your store and you threat or any kind of enforcing or fear on you to give him her your property. That's robbery. Burglary is incident that's happened most of the time you're not there. It's a locked vehicle, or the store is already closed, nobody around, and that they come in, broke into your store, broke into your car, and steal your stuff. That's a burglary. In addition, if you have on-site courtesy patrol of security officers, make sure you know who they are, what company. I know a lot of shopping plaza keep changing security company, and every time they do that, make sure you know who the current one, how to get a hold of them, what the operations hour, and what the limitations, what can they do and what they cannot do. Are they armed, which mean are they walking around with a weapon, guns, or they just courtesy patrol, they don't have any weapons on them. So a different level of security at your business area. So that you need to talk to the property manager also to get to know your security company well. Now 911, everyone know that is the emergency numbers. That is when you need an officer, a fire truck, an ambulance right there and then with no hesitation. That's dealing with crime in progress, something happening, life and death. That's a situation when you pick up the phone and you call 911. Now we live in a city with a lot of freeway. 911, it will, when you stand by a freeway and you press 911, it will connect you to a CHP, because that's that is the dispatchers that monitor all the cell tower that's closest to the freeway. But you need a San Jose police officer. So my recommendations is to call us directly, 277-8911. This is the direct 10-digit emergency line to the San Jose Police Department. If you live in San Jose, this is a direct line to our police department. If you live somewhere else, but you're doing business in San Jose, make sure you also have a direct line to your local, your city where you live, with direct line to the police department there as well. So that the officer can respond to the scene immediately without a delay in the response. We also have text 911. This feature has been rolled out the last 4 or 5 years. Situation when you cannot talk, people having heart attack in your shop, or there's an active shooter, or situation when something happened and you need to hide and silence your phones, you can text 911 to our dispatch unit. Unfortunately, we only have this in English and not other language. So but however, in the future, we are working on it to have a capability of having a text in Spanish as well. Now, when you call 911, these are the 5 major questions that the dispatcher will ask you. Where are you calling from? That's the first thing. They want to know what's your location. In case if your phone gets disconnected, they will know when was the last location that you're calling from. What is happening? Are you seeing it, or is it happening to you? When does it happen? Is it 5 minutes ago, half an hour ago? It's happened 30 minutes ago, but now that you are in a location that you're safe enough to call us. So give us the time element when it happened. Who's involved? It's a person, a vehicle. Do they have weapons? Are they high on drugs? Do they look like they unstable? Based on your description, based on your call and detail that you provide in our dispatchers, the dispatcher will either send a fire truck, an ambulance, an officer, or even the MCAT, the mobile crisis response team. So, or maybe all 4 of them show up at the same time, all based on what you tell the dispatcher on your call. Now, non-emergency used to be 311, but now the city is answering the 311 call line, which is have everything to do with city services. Now, the non-emergency that dealing with law enforcement is the 277-8900. This is a non-emergency from our police department. What we consider as a non-emergency, things that's already happened, what we call cold case, non-threatening suspicious activity. 2 major incidents that we'll consider as non-emergency would be car break-ins or stolen vehicle, because you don't know who did it, what time they do it, and where it was taken. So it's already happened, right? And you walk out you went shopping and you walk out and you saw it. This is when you call non-emergency, 277-8900. In addition to the non-emergency phone number, you can also file a report online through our website, sjpd.org. And let me walk you through it really quick. This is give you what is considered suspicious activity, right? This is non-emergency, someone peering into cars or window, a suspicious car that keep driving up and down the parking lot, broken windows, door as closed business. It's happened a lot through the peak of our COVID, store closed, nobody around, they broke into the store and someone walked by and called us and we informed the owner. So this is what we consider as non-emergency, and that is 277-8900. So reporting these non-emergency online through our website. So this is the website, and you go to the reporting crime tab. There's a drop down. A few years ago, there's only 7 type of crime that you can report online. But if you look at the our menu now, it's a lot of situation activity that you can actually file a report online. So when you file a report online, within an hour, you will get an email with a case number. And that case number is official case number that you can move forward with your insurance company to claim the insurance, to file a claim for your insurance company. So that will cut down the time when you have to be on hold, wait for an officer to show up to write up the report, give you the case number. So the tool of reporting online will cut down that whole process and give you the case number right away. And then beside the police department, this is the city resources. It's a very helpful app. even us here at Crime Prevention, we use it religiously because it's very responsive and it keeps you up to date of what you report and the status of the report that you have submit. So download this in your on your phone and have it ready, handy when you need to take a photo and send in a report of graffiti at your business, or report of pothole, or the live, light outage or street light outage. These are a really good app for you to use to get the service from the city. And I think that will bring me to the end of my portion of the presentations. It's up to the Gia and the team to let me know whether or not we can answer question now, or we wait until the end.
Let's go to our scenarios and then we can take questions after, if that's okay with everyone. Let me share my screen.
Okay, let me stop.
And thank you, Mimi, for that was very, very important information for our business owners and as well as residents to have handy when time is needed. All right, so so our Office of Economic Development, we conduct twice monthly biz walks in our community, and safety and blight issues are one of the top issues facing our business owners. So I gathered some examples and scenarios where a lot of our business owners are facing, and I'm just going to pull them up on the screen, and I'll have our speakers from our police department, housing department, and BeautifySJ, and to chime in on how we can handle each scenarios. And hopefully that will be very helpful for our guests today in our audience. And if there are scenarios that we didn't cover, at the end of our scenarios, we can open up for questions from our listeners. All right, let's go to our first one. All right, so this is a scenario with encampment, right? So a business owner saying, there is an encampment near me and they are needles, bio-waste in the parking lot, sidewalk. And they also set up fires sometimes to cook near the encampment. So in this situation, what is our strategy and who should we call?
So I can start. Hello, everyone. My name is Olympia Williams, Division Manager for BeautifySJ. If there is an encampment located near you, and let's say it's on the sidewalk or another kind of open lot, you can report that to the City of San Jose, and I'll put the email where you report it to the BeautifySJ email, and we'll come out, assess it, and address it. Any encampments that are located in the right of way, think about an encampment.
Và để đúng chỗ.
Blocking access.
En el acceso.
Hoặc là ngăn bị
Any encampment,
sorry.
That's okay, located on a sidewalk, someone has built a structure or something on the street, something's in the middle of a trail, there is an encampment that is maybe tapped into an electrical pole or water or something of that nature, you can report that to us and we'll come out so we can move that encampment from that particular location. What's important to note is that BeautifySJ addresses the visual, the trash, the debris. If there's bio-waste at the encampment, we address that. We take care of kind of the actual structure, tent, or personal belongings that a person has where they formed an encampment. If there's bio-waste, let's say it's in a parking lot of a business, those are things that the city does not address. Anything on private property, we consider that to be business property. But if there are bio-waste or needles within the city's jurisdiction, meaning in city property or any of our partners' property, that can be addressed. In terms of people cooking fires next to an encampment, I will tell you that unless the fire is posing a severe fire risk, our fire department usually will not come out and have that fire moved. So you can always consult with the fire department, tell them about the situation, but typically they won't just come out and tell a person they can't be there. What we will do in BeautifySJ though is assess that encampment, and if it poses a fire risk, we are willing to look at abating and removing it. My colleague, Vanessa Beretta in the housing department, though, provides the social and human services to a person, and I'll have her talk about that.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. Can you guys all hear me?
Yes, thank you.
Great,
Vanessa.
thank you. Hi, Vanessa with the Housing Department on the Homelessness Response Team. I manage all of our crisis response programs for the city, and the Homeless Concerns Line and Outreach is one of the components that I oversee. So if businesses are wanting to report a homeless concern about behaviors, they're concerned for a person, a individual they see, or an encampment is growing with number of folks, please report it to the Homeless Concerns Line, and I could put that information into the chat once I'm done speaking because I'm on my phone. So I could put that, it's an email and it's a phone number. You can call that, and what that will do, that will deploy an outreach team. What an outreach team is a nonprofit provider that we fund to go out to the encampments and engage with the individuals. We're kind of, I see it as like a first eyes on the location, to report what activity they're seeing out there, and as well as connecting the individuals to services and doing assessments. These outreach workers are trained to ask individuals what their immediate needs are. They're also trained to relay messages. What we often try to do, especially when it's around businesses or in large public spaces, or people are blocking the sidewalk, we use them as another way to communicate to the individuals, encourage them that this isn't a safe place. This isn't that to ideally have them relocate somewhere else where they're not impacting just the general day-to-day activity. We never try to report that people are complaining about them. We never try to put a negative spin, because we just want to ensure that if they're going to be in the neighborhood, that they know that people are going to work with them versus complaining about them. So it's just it's a tactic we take, knowing that ultimately we would like people to not be in front of businesses or impacting businesses. But the outreach workers are another way we get the message out to encourage people to move. Ideally, we encourage them to take on go into shelter, and we are able to help facilitate that process by providing the phone for them or transportation if that's what they need. But we will do ongoing visits if we schedule follow-up visits with these individuals. But anytime you guys are seeing any activity that is changing, or any activity or behaviors that you notice are different, reporting to the Homeless Concerns is just keeping us up to date on what you're seeing, since you're out there day to day. But please note, the line is not an emergency response, so you won't get an emergency response to go out there. It usually takes a couple of days for our outreach teams to go out to the site and visit individuals. So we encourage a call to 911 or 311 if it's illegal, unsafe behaviors that you're witnessing right then and there. And then I know Mimi had spoke to the mental health unit as well through San Jose PD.
Thank you so much, Vanessa. All right, our second example. They are a few regulars hanging out in the parking lot, and they come into my store to steal candy bars and other items. Customers are scared to visit my store because they are being harassed in the parking lot. And my staff are also, they also does not feel safe to come to work. And this example came from a lot of business owners, especially in some areas of San Jose where they have to cut their hours short. They will, instead of, prior opening to 9 p.m., now they open till 7 p.m. because of this issue. So I'll have our speakers chime in on their expertise on this issue. Thank you.
I can take this one. So there is multiple prongs approach for this particular question scenario. So the first thing, if you see someone that walk into your store and stealing, that's a crime in progress, right? Stealing something and you see it right there and then. Don't confront them. Don't come out and just pull them back. Call 911 right away. We ask that you pay attention to the suspect and give a really good description of that individuals. The reason is that if something that happened and then you called us, and even that person ran out of your store, make a left turn down the street, our patrol officer now know what the person looked like. So they may not stop there, right? Be right there to arrest that person, but they can catch them 2 blocks down or 3 blocks down even. In addition, so safety first. In addition, our crime prevention unit, we also provide personal safety and business safety watch. Just take this particular presentation and blow it up for 2 hours. We will go into your store. We will do this presentation to all the manager, staff, the employees, and we bring officer in to answer to the question that may be beyond this particular question. There are multiple scenario incident that happen in your store, so that we be able to know, oh, what we're looking out for. If we go to the presentation, oh, so this guy, he only come at such and such hour. And now our officer know at such and such hour, they gonna swing by that area more frequent to look for that person. So either when the person commit a crime at that such and such hour, our officer will be close by, or the officer can deter, because if they see our officer drive by that area more frequent, that individual will stop wandering around or loitering around or attempt to do anything to your store. So that's three different, as prongs that we can approach to help you and your business. But at any time when your store or yourself in danger, please call. And I know it gets really frustrated, and you call and the officer didn't show up until 30 minutes later, but doesn't mean that the officer didn't catch this individual 3 blocks down or in another store in another neighborhood. But always call and let us know. At our department continue to grow. We have more officers graduate from our academy. We will have more officers to be assigned to different neighborhood, different store, different neighborhood, different area and district. When we assign officer, it's based on the number of call for service. So if you take neighborhood A and within 30 days, there are 20 calls, and then you take a neighborhood B, within 30 days, there was 100 calls. So when we have officer, we definitely gonna send it to neighborhood B, because there are more call for service. It looked like more activity going on in that neighborhood B rather than A. So that is how we allocate and assign our officer based on number of call for service. So I hope that will give you some information, some useful tools. Invite us into your business, into your shopping area, so that I can do a much more thorough presentation and provide more tips and resources to you and your staff. Thank you.
Thank you, Mimi. All right, and then our last but least scenario. This is also probably PD related. My security camera caught someone committing a crime. For example, smashing car windows and stealing from vehicles in the parking lot yesterday or sometime prior. That is not happening at this moment. But the suspect's face is not clear. And so what should I do in this situation? And what should I do with this video I have?
Okay, so if the situation, the incident already happened and you review the video, this is what you see. There are two options. The first one is to call out non-emergency 277-8900 and let our dispatcher know and tell him or her that you have the footage of the incident. The dispatcher will ask either an officer or a community service officer. These are the people in uniform driving the hybrid white car that will come to your location to collect the video. If you want to file this online, you can do so through our SJPD.org, reporting crime online. And in their note, you can type in and let the dispatcher, whoever reading your note, know that you have a video footage. The situation with the suspect face is covered, but the motive usually 99% is the same. The behavior, the way they walk, the way that's there's their partner in crime, they usually go in with pair of two. So if your camera have the footage, our officer will be able to compare that with other footage that we have in our database to see if there is a matchup of this behavior with the body movement, with this particular tattoo that show on, when you zoom in, you see certain mark, scar or tattoo, and that's help our officer in the process of investigations.
Thank you. All right, so before we move on to our Q&A session, is there anything Olympia or Vanessa like to add to in regards to your each department, what your missions are, what you do? If not, then we can move on to our Q&A session. All right, okay, let me stop sharing. All right, I'm gonna ask my coworker, Nathan, maybe he's in the wrong channel. Let me see if I can see any questions in our chat. And if anybody in the audience would like to ask the question through voice, I can give you permission to speak if you can raise your hand. Then I'll give you permission to speak and ask questions to any of our panelists. All right, it looks like we don't have any questions. So that means we had a wonderful presentation, I hope. All right, so thank you, Olympia, Mimi, and Vanessa for coming in today and spending your time with us. And hopefully that our business owners feel that they receive some important information today, and knowing that the city of San Jose has multiple departments working to make San Jose a safe and beautiful place for our business owners. All right, if we don't see any questions, then I will end this webinar. All right, thank you.
Thank you so much.